Hi, I'm Tiffany with New Perspective Fitness, and we're going to be exploring a lower body mobility workout as part of our Gentle Aging series. And this is our most inclusive video series designed with older adults in mind. In this session, we're going to guide your ankle and your hips through their full range of motion within your comfort level. Your only job is to ensure that you have full medical clearance to move your lower body joints through all the directions. We're going to begin seated, so I want you to grab a chair and let's get moving. We're going to begin with warming up our lower body with a seated march. Be forward in your chair so that we can engage our core, and we're going to be here for 1 minute. Ready and begin. So we're just driving our knees up. We're simultaneously pumping our arms. This is going to help with the speed of our legs. Now, if you want to move faster than me, that's fine. If you want to execute this move slower than me, that's also fine. This movement is just trying to increase the circulation of our lower limbs so that our body is ready for our more intense stretching and mobility drills that we will be executing. It's also enhancing coordination of our lower limbs, and this is important for doing any daily activity that requires our lower body. And as far as our muscles go, we're engaging our transversus abdominis, our deep abdominal muscle, and we're working our hip flexor, that iliopsoas, driving those legs up. 7 more seconds. Our next move is slow toe raises. Again, we're forward in our chair so that we're engaging our core muscles, and this move is to drive the balls of the feet up, lifting the toes, and then lower down. You may stay here in this bent knee position at this 90 degree, or to challenge yourself more, feel free to stretch your legs out. You're also going to lean the upper body back. You may place your hands on the seat or the side of the chairs, and you're going to lift the toes up and then lower down. And we're exhaling on that lifting phase. Now, as you can see, my legs are stretched out in front of me, but there's still a pretty big bend in my knees, especially during the lifting phase. And this exercise is going to be improving the range of motion in your ankles, and it's also strengthening the front of our lower leg, that shin, the anterior tibialis. And this muscle is responsible, as you can feel, for pulling the feet up, but it also controls your foot down. It's also mimicking the motion that we need to clear our foot while walking. A person with weakness in this muscle, they might have a really big slap in their feet during heel strikes. You could actually hear them walking, and they might also have difficulty clearing their foot while they are going through that swing motion of walking. 1 more repetition. We're now moving on to heel raises, so we're working the exact opposite muscle group. We're going to return back to the 90 degree angle. Everyone is right here, and we're just going to slowly lift the heels up and then lower back down. And we'll exhale during the lifting phase and then inhale to lower back down. This is primarily targeting our calf muscles, and more specifically the soleus muscle. There's 2 main calf muscles, the gastrocnemius and the soleus. And strengthening the soleus is really crucial because it plays a significant role in helping with running and walking and even just maintaining balance in general. Lifting and lowering the heels, it also helps pump and get blood flow in the calf muscles, and it pushes blood back to the heart. And this is especially beneficial to anybody with poor circulation or who are prone to leg swelling. We're going to do 2 more repetitions. Good. Now, to really get our body warm, I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock, and we're going to execute fast toe taps, all right? Ready? 30 seconds, begin. So when we do fast toe taps, again, that's your version of fast, and you're going to really start to feel warmth and a lot of muscle contraction in the front of the shin. Again, that tibialis anterior. Performing these exercises is going to strengthen the front of the shins, and then we're going to hit the opposite muscle group when we do the heel taps. Time is done, and now give me heel taps. And again, this is fast. Keep that speed up, and we're moving together. More muscular legs can just help improve overall stability and help with better posture and walking. 10 more seconds. Keep that speed up. Done. All right, now this next one we're gonna have a little bit of fun with. We are going to do 2 moves together. So what, you know how when sometimes people say, ooh, pat your head and then rub your belly. That's what we're doing. We're simulating that with our feet. And this is really important because this exercise can help, since you're doing 2 different movements at the same time, different movements simultaneously, it can increase neural pathways and it can help coordinate bilateral movements, meaning climbing upstairs, walking, running. I would like you to begin with toe tapping your right toes, okay? And then we're gonna take our heel down, all right? So toe tap, heel down. 30 seconds on the clock, let's go. And improving these neural connections is absolutely critical for activities such as walking and climbing stairs, even driving. 10 more seconds. All right, wonderful. Now we're going to tap the left toes and take the right heel down, okay? So get your toes going on the left side, right heel down. 30 seconds, go. You might also find that it's easier to do this on one side and the other, but as you practice this exercise more, hopefully your sides become more balanced. And regularly practicing these movements that require simultaneous but different actions in each leg, it can really help stabilize your muscle control, and it can reduce the risk of falls and even reduce the risk of injuries because you're improving your balance. And done. Beautiful effort. Okay, so now we are going to grab out our yoga blocks. These yoga blocks can be in the most vertical upright positions. We can call this portrait mode, or they could be down in landscape. So you can decide. I want to go a little bit harder today, so I'm going to have them in the most vertical position that they can go. We're trying to work abduction and flexion of our hips. We are forward in our chairs, sitting up nice and tall, engaging that transversus abdominis. And together, I want you to lift your right leg up and over the yoga block and then return. Good. So we can exhale as we go up and over the yoga block. Also, every time. So I'm exhaling now, breathe in, and then exhale to return. Beautiful. So what we're doing, again, is we are flexing the hip. You're working your hip flexor, that iliopsoas, and you're abducting the hip when you go out. So this is abduction, and then when you come in, that's adduction. And we're really just trying to increase the mobility of our hip joint here, and this can help with your walking gait, and again, performing everyday activities like climbing stairs, stepping over a curb, getting out of a car, getting into a bathtub if we're choosing to do so. Good, now let's switch over to our left side. So flex and then abduct, flex and then adduct. We're always very, very conscious of our posture. So imagine there's a string on your head. We're sitting up nice and tall. Our chest is proud. and we're strengthening the muscles of our abdominals and our pelvis. And this can really help in reducing low back pain and discomfort. Two more, up and over. Last repetition. Wonderful. At this time, we're going to grab a quick water break, and then I will set you up for the next series. We're back. I would like you to start forward in your chair, and we're going to begin with right foot ankle circles. So what we're doing here, I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock, and follow along with me as we outline our foot. And we're just mobilizing our ankle complex, but as you can see and feel, this is even positively impacting your knee and your hip joint. This move, we're just increasing ankle and foot mobility, and this is essential for balancing and also walking. Now, change the direction of tracing your foot. We're here for 30 seconds moving in this direction now. Ankle circles can help reduce your risk of falls by maintaining lower leg function and even responsiveness. 15 seconds to go. Stop, and now we're moving over to the left foot. So begin your ankle circles. 30 seconds is on the clock. This exercise is also really important because it helps prevent stiffness, which is particularly important for people that sit a lot. Just about 10 more seconds moving in this direction. All right, now switch still the left foot, but just change how you are outlining that foot. All right, 30 seconds has started. And this regular motion can really help the ankle joints stay lubricated, and this is going to help with issues like arthritis or other joint-related issues. Just 10 more seconds here. Really just do your best moving that ankle complex through its fullest range of motion. You're working internal and external rotation of the knee and the hip, and done. All right, so for our next exercise, we are going to stand. We should have 2 yoga blocks, and we're going to place them on either side of our chair. Begin with your left foot on the yoga block, and you can use your chair for balance assistance here. And this move is going to be a hip circle. Our foot is in neutral, which means we're not externally rotated or internal rotated, we're just straight forward. And what we're doing is I would like you to move your hip in a nice circle, trying to execute a full range of motion, okay? I'm gonna put 30 seconds on the clock, and I need you to move your circle in that same direction. So our hip joint, it's in a capsule and surrounded by synovial fluid. And this fluid helps to lubricate our joint, and it makes it easier for our bones to move smoothly. And when we move our joint, more fluid is produced, and it keeps everything working well. So just think like oil to a car. Now I want you to switch the direction of your hip circle. 30 seconds on the clock. So as you can see, exercise is medicinal. It's absolutely beneficial for our joints. And this is especially true for people with osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis or even gout. Ten more seconds. Wonderful. Now we're moving over to the other side. We're going to stand our right foot on top of the yoga block. And let's begin neutral position with our left foot. And let's do outward circles, okay? Here we go. And again, you're just creating your fullest range of motion that you can. Even though today's workout is all about mobility of our lower body, you could make this a little bit about balance if you want to. So use a chair or a wall as much or as little as you'd like. All right, and now change the direction of that hip circle. So we're moving inward. This movement is really going to help your joints stay lubricated, and it can help reduce pain and stiffness that we feel. You're working hip stability on the leg that is stable, and you're working lubrication of the joint on the leg that's moving. Done. All right. We're now moving on to side leg raises. I would like you to stand with your left foot on top of the yoga block. And again, use this chair for balance assistance. We're keeping our right foot elevated. And from here, we're just lifting our leg out to the side and then have that hover. So you're just right underneath that hip joint. So we go out to the side and hover. Nice. This is a crucial exercise for side-to-side movements and stability. You are actually strengthening the leg that is on top of the yoga block, and you're improving the mobility of the leg that is lifting out to the side, so the right leg. You can exhale on the lifting phase of the leg, inhale to lower and hover. Two more repetitions. Great. Now we'll move over to the other side. Our right leg, we're strengthening the right glute medius here. And then the left leg, we're lifting out to the side. Now I like to take my left arm behind me so that it's out of the way of the leg that's lifting, so it's internally rotated. And you're exhaling as you lift. This is a wonderful complement for my avid walkers, because when you walk, that's the sagittal plane, and this is complementing your walking routine by working your outer thigh muscles, and this is working the frontal plane. Three more repetitions. Excellent. So that was more the side of the hips and working the glute medius. Now we're going to work the glute maximus. So I'll show you the side view here. Let's all step our right foot on the yoga block, and you could have a wall in front of you or you could have your chair. I'm just showing you the side view. So my right foot is on top of the yoga block, and I'm going to take my left leg back into hip extension, and then I'm hovering. So I'm just extending the hip back. This is a phenomenal exercise because a lot of us have really tight hip flexors from sitting so much. And this is opening up that area. And it's really important for strengthening the glute maximus, but also fighting against that tightness that we can have in our hip flexors. We're exhaling as we extend the left leg back. Inhale when we return right underneath that hip joint. 2 more. Wonderful. Now, we're gonna finish with our left foot on top of the yoga block. Again, you have a wall or your chair in front of you. Ready, and press that right leg back. We're just extending through the hip. You're feeling that glute maximus fire. On the stable leg that's on the yoga block, you're working balance and you're working the foot and the ankle complex. The glute medius is helping stabilize you. The abdominals are drawn in, supporting the low back. We're gonna do 5 more repetitions. Again, all of this movement is deriving from the hips. You're just extending back. The torso is still for this move. Wonderful. So at this time, I'm going to give you your final water break, and then we're gonna come back and finish with stretches. Welcome back. We're now going to finish with standing and seated stretches, beginning with the calf stretch. At this point, I would like you to stand behind or to the side of your chair. We're going to have our left leg forward and the knee is bent, and we're pressing into our right heel. This is for our lower leg. This is a calf stretch, specifically targeting the gastrocnemius more. Focus on relaxing through the rest of your body, especially the shoulders. And you must keep your heel grounded and down. At this point, I want you to bend your back knee and shift your hips back slightly. This changes the stretch so that we're targeting more the soleus muscle. And having flexible calves are absolutely crucial and effective for push-off and also shock absorption during walking and running. And this can just lead to more efficient movement patterns and less energy expenditure when we're walking. Now let's release the right leg, and we're going to repeat these stretches on the other side. So our left heel is back, our heel is pressing into the ground, and our back leg is straight, our front knee is bent. Focus on breathing deeply because this will make these stretches more effective. Tight calf muscles can affect the alignment of your feet and your ankles and your knees, and that can impact overall posture. So it's very important that we're nice and mobile through our ankles and even the muscles of the lower legs. Now let's move into that soleus stretch by shifting our hips back, bending our back knee. You can see that your front knee starts to straighten a little bit, but it's also still bent, and you must keep that back heel down. Let's release. Take a seat with me and sit forward in your chair. And we're going to stretch our quadricep, that's the front of the thigh, and our hip flexor. To do this, I want you to step your right foot out like you're stepping out of a car. And then we're going to come into a lunge position, and I want you to shoot your left leg down. You should feel this stretch in the front of the hip flexor, and if you're tight through the quad, you might also feel it through the quad. To deepen this stretch, you may start shimmying that left leg back to try to lengthen the front of the thigh. And then to add even more, we may lean back slightly. So again, you're feeling this all in the front of the hip and down into the front of the thigh, the quadricep muscle. Relax through the upper body. Breathe deeply. Nice. Now to exit this pose, you can just bring that left leg in. Now we're gonna step that left leg up and over, just like you're getting out of a car, and we're gonna shoot that right knee down. We're in this lunge position, and as you are comfortable, just shimmy that leg back, and then if you'd like, you may lean back slightly with your torso. Again, you're trying to get your body in a position so that you can stretch through this hip flexor into the front of the thigh, the quadricep. This area is tight in so many of us because we sit so much. So this is a beautiful stretch for us to be executing daily to kind of undo all the bad that we've done with the sitting. Slowly exit that hip flexor and quad stretch. For our next stretch, the inner thigh stretch, yoga blocks are optional. So let's get into position, and then you can decide if you would like yoga blocks. From here, you're just shimmying your feet out, and you may press on your inner thighs. We're forward in our chair, and then you lean your body forward. Now, I am shorter, and I found that when I prop my feet up on the yoga blocks and bring the ground up, I get a deeper stretch. So what that looks like is you're just going to place your feet on yoga blocks. Again, this is optional. And then from here, you're going to press on the inner side of your thighs here and just feel this deep stretch. And I'm hinging forward with my upper body. And this forward stretch is really good for the inner thigh muscles. You're just breathing deeply. Tight inner thighs can really put a lot of strain on our low back, so making sure that we're nice and stretched out here is super important. Again, you may press your hands, or if you're able to come deeper, you can kind of even press your almost elbows into the inner thighs and try to lengthen through that spine. And regular stretching of the inner thighs can help maintain proper alignment and balance in the pelvic region. It can really help contribute to overall better posture. Slowly lift that torso up, and we can exit from this pose. We don't need our yoga blocks anymore. And now we're moving on to a single leg hamstring stretch. So I would like you to take your right leg forward, and my toes are pulled towards my nose. I'm going to place my left hand on my thigh for support, and then I'm going to slowly hinge. I'm hinging at my waist, so it's like there's a rod in my spine, and I'm reaching forward. Now the cue is to reach towards the toes, but most of us cannot. Average flexibility means that your fingers would be about 4 to 6 inches away from the toes, so that is normal. So if a person is touching their toes, they actually have above average, like good flexibility. So most of us are not touching our toes when we do this hamstring stretch. And tight hamstrings, they're often linked to lower back pain because they can pull on the pelvis and they can affect your spinal alignment. So making sure that we stretch these muscles can really help alleviate some of that strain that we can get in our lower back, and it can potentially reduce discomfort and improve your overall spine health. Slowly bring your torso up, and let's switch sides. We're bending our right knee, straighten your left leg out, our toes are pulled towards our nose, and then reach down towards your foot. Now I want to be clear, we're not bending our left knee excessively to try to reach our toes. Our leg is fairly straight here, and we're just reaching down as best we can. It's important to have a nice flexible back as well as your hamstrings, because flexibility can improve everyday activities such as walking, climbing stairs, or when you bend over to pick something off of the floor. All of those movements can be made easier and even more comfortable the more flexible you are. Slowly bring that torso up. And now we're moving into the health of our hips. We're coming into a seated figure 4 stretch. So follow me and bring your right leg up. Now, many of us, we're going to look like this when we do figure 4 stretch because we're very, very tight through our hip. As you gain more mobility through your hip complex, this is called external rotation. Your external rotation will improve. From here, if this is enough of a stretch for you, this is where you can stay. To make this more challenging, feel free to hinge forward at your waist. Another cue is to gently press down on your right knee as you simultaneously pull up through the foot and the ankle complex. And the whole point of this stretch is to work your external hip rotators, and this can help improve your walking gait. Also, lower back pain can be alleviated by reducing tension in your hips by doing this stretch. Slowly bring your torso up, and let's take our right leg down, and we're bringing our left leg up. Again, we might look like this when we do this figure 4 stretch, and that's okay. There's just tightness in your hip. As you gain more mobility, that hip will be more open. If you can handle a deeper stretch, hinge at your waist. You may press down slightly on your left knee, pull up on that foot and ankle complex. The muscle that you're stretching here, we're really working through our buttocks, and it's called the piriformis muscle. And tightness in the piriformis muscle can cause sciatica or other issues, an issue called piriformis syndrome, which is literally a pain in your butt. So stretching can help keep those injuries and issues at bay. As we stretch, we're really trying to tap into relaxing in that parasympathetic nervous system. So deep breathing is one of the best actions that we can take right now. Slowly bring that torso up, and we're going to take our left foot down. We're finishing by widening our stance, and I want to stretch through your low back. And we're going to do this with just a gentle forward fold. This is safe for us to do because we're in a chair, we're in a supported environment. So when you're ready, I just want you to slowly reach your fingertips down to the ground. And this is called a seated forward fold. You should feel this in your low back. Now, some of us are going to stop at neutral. If you have more to give, you can even drop your head lower if that feels okay for you. And just try to be as relaxed as possible as we hold this forward fold for our low back. This can help alleviate tension in our low back and even tension in your neck. To exit this pose, we will move very controlled and slowly and come up nice and easy. Anytime our head can go below the heart, it could cause dizziness in some people, so we want to be very careful as we return to a seated position. Thank you so much for joining me today for this lower body mobility routine. I'm Tiffany with New Perspective Fitness, and I'll catch you next time.